loves, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ishani, and I'm sorry that the lighting is so harsh, but I guess it's taken in the essence of what I want to talk to you about today. Um, since the past few years, self-love and self-care are words that have just been thrown around everywhere. The opportunity has been given. They've been plastered on products, on social media as a means of selling things, of propagating ideologies. And today, I wanted to just take a step back and talk about effective self-care. For me, self-care has always been easily distinguishable into two categories. One is peripheral and one is intrinsic. And as important as peripheral self-care is, it is 1000%. I feel like we just don't talk about intrinsic self-care enough. So today, taking all of that into account, I thought I would share with you 12 methods of effective self-care that you can practice in your everyday just to get that little dose of extra love in. And sometimes, guys, I'm gonna be really honest with you, self-care is hard. Loving yourself isn't always sunshine and rainbows, and I've spoken about this before. It's a lot of deep work that goes into understanding who you are as a person. When you're falling in love with another human being, there are days when you don't like them or where you feel a certain sense of, oh my god, what if this trait or this value that aligns with them doesn't align with my future? And you realize a lot of those things about yourself. So just be as open-minded as possible about this entire ritual, about the practice of loving yourself, because on some days it's going to be really hard and it's going to be really awakening, because you're going to realize things about yourself that you just did not take into account. So without further ado, let me share with you my favorite ways to get in tune with myself, to understand myself, and to fall in love with myself. So, like I said, first of all, peripheral self-care is important. We cannot deny that. Some days you just need to be treated like a baby or like a special person in your life. So do that. Do the surface level things, because sometimes that's all we really need. We get so caught up in the daily hassle of life that we forget that we are also human and we also need time. So do everything that you can in your capacity to fulfill that need. Go on walks, go on solo dates, spend time with yourself, do spa days. Treat your body the way that you would treat your loved one. So peripheral self-care, take it into account, and let's get on into some of the deeper, harder methods of understanding yourself. So second of all, and I've spoken about this time and time again, I'll link my journaling video in the cards above. You have got to journal. I feel like it is one of the most important self-discovery tools there is ever. For me, just to be able to reflect on the growth that I've had as a person or the values in me that have changed over time has been so important. Or even venting out on a bad day and understanding what's really bothering me, because unconsciously journaling takes you not only to the root of the cause but also gives you the path to the solution, and those are two things you need most when you're facing a problem. So give journaling a shot. Please watch the video wherever it is, and if that doesn't help you, make sure that you search for more journaling alternatives and find an effective method that works for you. Another thing that I've spoken about before is that in case you're just not a writer, I get that. You're not a typer, you hate constantly using your hands while you're venting. That's a very common thing to feel. Sometimes when I'm overstimulated and I'm overwhelmed, I don't like writing. So open your phone, go on the voice notes and talk. It's like talking to another person who doesn't respond. If the mirror thing works for you, do that. Sit across the mirror and talk, vent. There is an outlet to your feelings, and sometimes we just don't feel comfortable talking to another person, but you are the most important person in your life, so talk to yourself. Thirdly, and I know you've heard me say this before, but I've never really elaborated on it, it's healing your inner child. For so many of us, we go through unconscious trauma in our childhood that we repress or we just don't acknowledge and understand. And for us to build a relationship with our inner child is so important. A few of the ways you can do that is do activities that you enjoyed doing as a baby. Like for me, I love dancing. I used to take part in it all the time, and then I just stopped, maybe because I started feeling conscious in my body. And picking up that hobby, even if it's alone, just gives me so much joy. Till date, every time I feel pumped, I express it in the form of dancing. Whether I eat something good or I really love something about my surrounding, I do a little dance. And I feel like that helped me realize that it is so important in my heart and I just didn't realize it. Do things that stimulate your inner child. Keep bubbles in your room. Keep fidgets in your room. And I know it sounds like very, very stupid advice, but trust me, it helps. Apart from these slightly joyous ways of connecting with your inner child, you can also do it through some of the difficult things, which is actually acknowledging what your core beliefs about yourself are. One of my core beliefs is that I feel like I'm just not good enough, whatever I do, how much ever I achieve, which is how I learned to associate my self-worth with productivity. And just the fact that I acknowledged it, it gave me the tools to unlearn it. And I wouldn't say I'm fully there yet, but it's a belief I'm trying to dismantle every single day. So I'll link a video down below. It's absolutely beautiful. They have a lot of exercises. There's a worksheet and there's a list of core beliefs, and all you need to do is figure out which of those resonate with you the most. So do that and figure out your core beliefs. Another thing you can do to connect with your inner child is write a letter as them. It can be whatever, be as descriptive as you want. It can be a letter to them as your current self or a letter to your current self as them. And either way, whatever it is, it helps you build a meaningful relationship. Like I said, journaling, you can always journal as your inner child. Imagine you're a 7, 8, 9-year-old writing about what you've gone through or what you're feeling. That's always extremely useful to help understand what sort of things that you have repressed or that you don't see the magnitude of, because all of them come out really beautifully in writing. Fourthly, which took me a really, really, really long time to grasp and get the hold of, was meditation. I know people talk about it so much. Everyone says it's such an important part of your day, of your life, of your mental well-being, and so many people think it's an absolute waste of time to sit in a space for 20 minutes staring at a blank wall doing absolutely nothing. And I see both perspectives, but having been in both places of understanding, I can tell you the first one is much better to be at. You don't have to meditate for 2 hours a day. You don't have to meditate in ways that do not bring you joy. There are so many meditation apps out there. There's so many guided meditations on YouTube. And I have seen the world of meditation evolve in a way that is all accepting and understanding. For a very long time, I felt like I was wasting my time and I didn't have enough time to incorporate meditation into my lifestyle. So I downloaded an app called Breathwork, which is a breathing meditation. And just having that control over your breath and understanding and spending that time with yourself in the present, even if it's just for 3 minutes, is so beautiful. You don't realize its effects for the first 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, but with the 8th day, when you feel agitated, and instead of taking it out, you're like, oh my god, I should meditate. That is the difference that it makes. So give it a try. It's one of those habits that don't show you immediate benefit, but atomic habits. It gives you a huge benefit over time if done consistently. The fifth thing, and my personal favorite, I would mention this in every single video if it made sense, is decluttering. Marie Kondo has changed my life for the better, and I would not go back for anything. I wouldn't say that I was ever a scattered person, but I always felt disorganized even when I was at my peak organization, and that was because everything that I owned did not bring me joy. Everything that I owned, when I opened my cupboard, there were clothes that didn't fit me. There were clothes that were 40 years old and my mom's and vintage, and there were clothes that I bought and are tattered but I don't want to throw away, and like I just couldn't find anything to wear, and it really fueled my body image issues because it wasn't my fault that my clothes weren't my size, but the fact that they were in my cupboard conditioned my brain to believe that, oh my god, they've been here and you still don't fit into them. So tiny things like that, hoarding is, for me, I think it's in my genes. Everyone in my family is always hoarded, and it's so easy to slip into it once you start collecting things. I had 3 drawers of stationery I never used, and I continued keeping it for 5 years. So I understand the importance of decluttering now because everything in my life has an effective system. Decluttering is the first step to becoming an effective planner. Whether you believe it or not, it is so important. I will also link Marie Kondo's introductory video in the description box below in case you want to go give it a watch. She also has a show on Netflix. It's amazing. Her basic philosophy of life, of decluttering, is that everything that you own should spark joy. The premise behind it is that all objects have souls and all objects deserve to have a relationship with you. The same way she says that you should thank the things you're wearing, or when you're decluttering and giving away things, you should thank them for how much they've served you. And that basically comes from an ancient philosophy of the fact that objects have souls. So they deserve to feel appreciated for the service that they've given us. So again, beautiful lady, amazing philosophy. It makes you feel so motivated and in control of your life. So declutter. There's also a challenge on my Instagram, and my Instagram is linked below. So go do that, because trust me, the second you start decluttering any part of your life, you feel so in control of the rest of it. Sixthly, and another one of my favorites on this list, every time I feel like I'm slipping away from myself, like I feel like I'm the least connected to myself, the first thing that goes down the drain is my basic ritual of cleaning my surroundings and cleaning my physical body. And I have realized that the second I take a shower, my vibration rises so much, just getting to have that feeling of everything washed outside of you. Hearing the sound of water can prove to be so energizing to your brain. It's unbelievable. So do the basics. The second you feel like you're out of tune with yourself, change your bedding, clean your room, set a 10-minute timer and clean as much as you can. Even if you're just putting 3 clothes in, it's a big step. If you don't feel like taking a shower, wash your face. If you don't feel like washing your face, use some wet wipes. I've spoken about this in my coming out of the lowest lows videos, which I will link in the cards above, whichever one it is. And hopefully it helps you a little bit, but try to do the littlest things of kindness to yourself that you would do for, say, a person who isn't feeling too well, or a roommate who's down, or a partner who's sick. So try to treat yourself with that level of compassion. 7th, and by far the most life-changing tip, is planning. And by planning, I don't mean having scattered to-do lists on your Apple Notes, or having scattered to-do lists on paper that you never look back on or never see for the rest of your life. Because I did that for a very long time, and it is the least effective method of planning in the world. First things, you should never ever have goals. You should always have systems. And that's a very clear distinction that I have now realized. Goals are far, you put them on a pedestal, you don't know how to reach them, they're very unattainable. But systems are everyday practices in your daily life that help you reach those unattainable goals. So that brings me to my next point, which is when you are planning, have systems and not goals. I have spoken about this on my Instagram again, but just a brief recount. I truly believe that effective planning stems from future planning. Today, what I'm doing should in some way add to who I am in the future, even if it's just me wanting to mold my personality, whether it's wanting to achieve a dream, whether it's wanting to be a different person, whatever it is, all of those big goals should be a part of my everyday. So when you're setting goals, the first thing you should do is set the big goals. Your goals should start where your imagination ends. That tiny whisper of a voice in your head that says, you should do this, or oh my god, how cool would it be if we did this, and then you're like, no, that's dumb. That's the voice you should listen to and stretch it further. Those should be your biggest goals. Now, even if you just leave it at that, I feel like it gives your brain a vision, but to make it better, give your goals habits. So for example, I wanted to feel healthier in my body, and I have always had a very rocky relationship with my body, and I wanted to fix that. So my goals were having a healthy relationship with my body, healing my relationship with food, and the systems that I put in place for that were yoga, reflecting every time I binge ate, having an accountability buddy to hold me accountable to not binge eat, being able to openly talk to people around me, and setting all of these systems into place ensured that I reached my goal not only faster but also more efficiently. Write a letter to yourself. There's a website called futureme.org, which I will again link in the description box below, for the sole purpose that it is the most refreshing website I've come across. I wrote letters to my 17-year-old self when I was 13, and I got them this year. The website basically enables you to write a letter to your future self, and you put the email in and that letter comes to you and you can never access it until that given date. And that is so cute for the sole reason that hearing my 13-year-old child write to me, it's almost like getting thrown back in time in the most pleasant of ways. So write a letter to yourself. It doesn't even have to be a future letter. I have written so many letters to myself. It just helps me understand my goals better. Okay, so the 10th thing is that build meaningful relationships. I have come to realize that my relationships are my greatest asset. And I don't mean this in the way that they're limited to that. I mean it in the way that they've taught me so much about myself, because the people I surround myself with is a reflection of who I am. How loving they are, how supportive they are, how kind they are. The things I can learn from them and the things that I can embody into myself are so magnificently beautiful. I have learned so many things about myself by talking to the people I love. I felt so supported and guided by talking to the people I love, by merely getting to spend time in their presence. You will have experiences like never before if your relationships are truly deep-rooted and connected from the heart. So I am planning to make a video on how to build meaningful relationships super soon. But I guess the main tip is communication. If you can effectively communicate with someone, be vulnerable, open, honest, intimate, that's a good sign that it's a meaningful relationship. Okay, so that takes me to my second last point, which is take care of your body. My Instagram family knows this really well. Your body is the vessel through which you view the world. It's the vessel through which you have experiences. Treat it like a home, treat it with kindness. I'm not going to elaborate on this. I've done it multiple times before. But your body deserves love. It is a baby. And it is doing its purpose of helping you live this life, explore it, understand it. And that is a gift. Your body is the least interesting thing about you. If today I were to describe you to someone, it wouldn't even be one of the things I mention. So please do not let it come so into the foreground of your life that it overtakes the rest of it. And that brings me to my last point, which is learn more things about yourself. And you can do it through all of the things above, but you can also do it through active exploration. Whether it's going on solo trips, if you can't right now afford that, or if you don't have the access, the resources to do that, take yourself out on walks, on dates, to the library, do hobbies that you did as a kid, do new hobbies that you never imagined doing. I never in my life thought that I would be a guitarist. I was always the person who had a crush on guitarists, and then I ended up becoming one. So I guess how things change. But anyway, do things that bring you joy, understand what brings you joy, explore, actively understand your inner being, your purpose, your motive, the things that bring you joy, the type of movement you enjoy, the type of food you enjoy, the type of person you are. And all of this can be done if only you actively choose yourself. So that brings me to the end of the video. I'm so happy you guys stuck around for so long. And again, new videos every single Saturday. So subscribe subscribe wherever the red button is, push it. I am so grateful that I get to have this platform of love and kindness, and I'm so grateful that I'm not only building it, I'm also an active part of it. So thank you for showing me so much love. I'm grateful. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the pizzazz, and sending loads of love always. For me, self-care has always been distinguished. For me, self-care has always been what is wrong?